Welcome to another edition of the Nailsin Ratings. So I just finished watching the Cloverfield Paradox, which is the third in this series of films that began with Cloverfield, which was a found footage film, and the first, I believe, the first to make use of big budget special effects, because you basically had a Godzilla movie told through a Blair Witch style filmmaking. So this was the first one of those, I think. I think there's been a couple of others, using more high-tech type stuff. But, well, of course, the Apollo, Apollo 18 and that type of thing. But anyway, so Cloverfield was born, and it was born out of an interesting sort of stealthy marketing plan where you just see I was in the theaters, and all of a sudden here came the trailer for it, and without any explanation of what the hell was going on, but it was so fascinating to just, you see, it's some kind of like a found footage looking thing, but they're at a party or whatever, then all of a sudden, the monster attacks and all that. So I loved it. I full disclosure, I'm a sucker for found footage films. And so I was sucked in on this one, and I stand by it. I love the film and the whole mystery and what have you. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm a sucker for found footage films, even the bad ones. But yes, there are a lot of bad ones and few good ones. But nevertheless, Cloverfield was one of the good ones. And so this was fascinating. And then everybody was waiting for the inevitable sequel. And you figured, it'll be marketed the same way, where you didn't quite know when it was coming, where it was going, all that. And that continues. So the sequel, of course, was 10 Cloverfield Lane. I didn't really like that one. There were some great atmospherics, but the payoff I didn't really see as being there. The performances were strong and all that. So I was hoping for something a little better, maybe more interesting and whatnot. And of course, I wanted it more connected to the first one. So there's that. And maybe that's a bit of a bias there too about judging that film. So finally we get the third film, the Cloverfield Paradox. And again, this one was rather snuck in, and it was about, I guess, a week or two before its release. I was hearing more and more about it and the plot, and it was supposed to be called God Particle. Then it was going to be called Cloverfield Station, which I actually like. And now it's Cloverfield Paradox. And, of course, they released at the Super Bowl. So they're back on their game with that kind of thing. And, of course, releasing it on Netflix. I didn't see that coming. I was thinking, and then towards like the week before, I was hearing rumors that, no, it's going to be on Netflix. So it kind of spoiled the surprise. But nevertheless, there it is. This will be the first one to be released on Netflix, which is another sign that the future is not the way it used to be as far as your programming and movies go. More and more, it'll all be online streaming for the future of your visual entertainment. But anyway, so Cloverfield Paradox. Well, I gotta say, I'm now liking the second one a little bit better. Based primarily because the performances were so strong and the atmospherics and whatnot. Here, I'm not blaming the actors, and I'm very reluctant to do, because they can only perform with what you give them. And so there wasn't enough story development for character development, I thought, here for these guys. And everything kind of jumps from one thing to the other, and then, the solution and what have you. Basically, the story is, spoilers, it is a space station. These are astronauts in there, and they're working on a particle accelerator to come up with a new energy source because the Earth is running out of its fossil fuels and all this sort of thing. And right off the bat, you realize this is not our world. This is an alternate future or our contemporary time. There's certain technologies that are far in advance of our own. Their 3D printing is far more advanced than what we have. There's examples of that and all that sort of thing. And of course, surprise, that's pretty much the core of the plot. This is a parallel universe, and they journey to another one. The particle accelerator rips open the dimensions, and they phase to another universe, and they have to figure out how to get back home and all that sort of thing. There's even a scene where they're watching the news before they go, where an author who actually pens a book, he's against the whole idea of the particle accelerator. His book is The Cloverfield Paradox. So there's the title. And I don't know why they're calling it Cloverfield. The station was Cloverfield. So I was hoping they would kind of like make mention that maybe there was a Dr. Cloverfield or something like that. But anyway, so why does the name keep appearing? We still don't know that in the different movies, but here we go. So the author of the book warned that this could cause all kind of unforeseen catastrophes and literally release demons upon our world. And of course, you mean demons? Come on, perhaps he meant like natural disasters and stuff. But of course, we know. And sure enough, by the end of the movie, this is what happened. They ripped open certain dimensions and whatnot, and so the creatures, including the creature that we just call Cloverfield because of the title of the movie, came from this other world. And by ripping open the laws of physics and whatnot and the dimensional barriers between parallel universes, all kinds of crazy crap happened and different monsters spilled over. So it's possible that the Cloverfield original movie is yet another world entirely, because it's more recognizable of our own Earth, our world, and how the technology and what have you of the time that it was. You didn't see any of this futuristic stuff there in that movie. But that's what it's getting at. The author said this could disrupt time and space and all this sort of thing. So meaning the event could actually rewrite history to where some of these monsters appeared in the past, which is interesting because the other rumor is that they've already completed the fourth film called Overlord, which takes place during World War II, which dealing with some Allied soldiers parachuting near a secret German base where they're up to no good there. Gee, Germans in World War II up to no good? Yeah. So, and so you could think that this might be connected somewhere through that. So we'll see. But anyway, the best part of this is that, yes, they do explain pretty much what happened and why this creature showed up when it did. On that. However, the monsters in the second movie are very different, and they even have spaceships. So that's aliens, but it might be aliens coming because, yes, the dimensional warps opened by the Cloverfield station has affected that world too. But there again, we might be talking about 3 different planets here, 3 different versions of Earth going on, and maybe eventually they'll come up with one that unites them all. Oh, one film to rule them all. So, that would be fine. So that's the best part. The worst part of the movie is it gets really cheesy with the horror aspects of it. There's a scene where a guy loses his arm, because weird things keep happening. The laws of physics don't work anymore in the station. It's almost like the station's haunted. And there's some aspects of that's cool, but his arm gets ripped off. Okay, fine, but then the arm reappears crawling on the ground. And it even, at one point, it writes a message to them. Because their gyroscope that they went missing and they suspect someone sabotaged the mission and all this. Turns out it appears in one of the dead astronauts, or cosmonaut in this case, the guy's a Russian, belly, and they have to dig it out of him. So I guess it just merged in there during the transference between dimensions. Then there's another officer or astronaut they find in the wall, and she's actually from the other universe's version of the station, and they've merged and all this sort of thing. There could have been more of that where people were merging and whatnot. The reason you had characters who didn't merge with their other selves is because their other selves were not on the station at the time, and that's part of the plot too. You have to just guess that this is one character who ends up full of worms. Now, they had worms on the station as part of their experiments and whatnot. So somehow the molecules getting screwed around when they jumped from one universe to the other, and they all ended up in this poor bastard. But at one point, it almost seems he's receiving orders from someone else when he's going through whatever he's going through there. And he uses the 3D printer to make him a gun, and he attacks this German guy he hated anyway, and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know. I'm supposed to conclude that that's his other self talking to him. And apparently in the other universe, the German guy, Schmidt is his name, was somewhat of a villain and was up to no good. But the one from the Prime universe that we start with, he's an okay guy. He wasn't up to anything. So, so there was something to that to blame him for everything going wrong for their station, I guess. Not everything is completely clear, but still, that doesn't bother me as much because some things they're giving you hints rather than spoon feed everything to you. But like I said, some of the silliness, you just have to guess again that it's futuristic technology so that they can have artificial gravity on the station. That's never really explained. I guess because they're spinning round and round and that sort of thing, but I don't know that they would get it that well. Other scenes where they're trying to save the station is damaged and they got to get rid of a part of it before it tears it all up, and there's just fragments and stuff flying everywhere, and they're walking through it in their spacesuits, and you just couldn't do that. A smallest particle rips through your suit and you're done. Some of it would go from interesting concepts all the way to, Saturday Night Sci-Fi Channel movie. And this is Cloverfield. It's supposed to be, top notch and whatnot. So I don't know, but it does, at least if you're Cloverfield completist, you should tune in and watch it. It does explain it, which I just gave it away for you. But, it does explain it. And there's some aspects of it. There's the main character and her story. And then her husband, you meet him at the beginning. He stays on Earth. He's a doctor and everything. And they go back to him to kind of give you hints of what's going on the Earth after they've ripped open, the universe and what have you. And that's all fine to an extent, but for the flow of this movie, I would have thought that you just don't show any of that until the end when they come back. Because there's no mystery. After a few scenes, you realize, they're being attacked by monsters because they've landed on the Earth now because of the Cloverfield mission and all that sort of thing. But I don't know, and just perhaps, they're setting up yet another movie because there's a young girl character that he meets that's in there, and the names are tossed around. So, of course, these movies are constantly leaving little Easter eggs for people to go online and theorize about. So, yeah, I'm sure that's there to feed that mill. I don't know what that would have to do with World War II, but we'll have to wait and see, and probably, if they can keep going, there'll be a 5th Cloverfield movie. So, you just don't know. But, so there we go, the Cloverfield Paradox. If you're completist, yes, you need to watch it. But if you're not, you might want to just pass it. I can't quite fully recommend it. But there were aspects that I personally enjoyed. So 1.5 out of 5 stars. All right, now I want to do a little update. Previous little video I did on the Solo, a Star Wars story teaser. Well, then I saw the full trailer. I liked the teaser. I thought that was quite intriguing and enjoyable. You get a taste of a little more, and you see things that kind of confirm what some of the rumors about how the film was having trouble. And I'm not too sure about this guy playing Solo, just on what I saw there. But then again, to its defense, this is a younger Solo. He's not quite the character we know from the original films, so there's some of that. But then again, as I've seen some other reviews and people, what's that guy who does Geeks, or Council of Geeks, I think it's Council of Geeks, anyway, was made the point that do you really need to see that? Every character biologically has a backstory, but you don't always need to see it. And so this might not have been such a great path to go down, because you get the idea that, well, he's a popular character, so there's got to be a good movie here. Not necessarily. And you go into it and you don't really have any ideas. And that's when it falls apart. So we'll see. It's not terrible as far as this trailer goes, but it worried me, and I've been burned very badly by The Last Jedi, so almost to the point that it's pretty much crippled the franchise as we are. These standalone movies are a little different because, they're standalone, but the ongoing trilogy and sagas and whatnot, boy, and The Last Last Jedi sure did a number on that one. So anyway, there you go. That's the update on that. And of course, my review of the Cloverfield Paradox. So thank you for watching and listening. And please do check out my podcast at radiomisfits.com. And of course, down in the link description, you will find the links to my stores, t-shirt, hats, stickers, posters, whatever. And my Poor Man Mystery Science Theater treatment of old movies at my Nailsin Theater at sellfy.com/Nailsin. You head over there. They're dirt cheap, and you can download some films that would ordinarily be horrible to watch, but now they're enjoyable because you're watching them with me. Yes, your special friend, Mr. Nailsin. And they're filled with my smart aleck commentary, cartoon sound effects, and, of course, bathroom humor. All right. Again, thank you for watching and listening. And, hey, we should do this again sometime. Hey, I know. Why don't you subscribe? And we will.